Good morning to all the students. Students, this lesson is for class 7th for the subject of chemistry, topic an atom, which is covered in chapter 4, atoms, molecules and radicals, starting on page number 47 of your textbook titled Concise Chemistry by Selena Publication and is being submitted to you on 2nd August 2021. This voice is of Mohinisha Thakur. All students may now please open page number 47 of your notebook in front of you. If all students are ready, then let us start with this chapter. All students may now please listen carefully. Every matter is made up of very tiny particles called atoms. Molecules are formed from atoms. Atoms and molecules are too small to be seen through naked eye. They can only be seen through a powerful microscope. Let us know about atoms and molecules in detail. So what is an atom? Students, the word atom comes from the word atomos, meaning indivisible, coined by a Greek philosopher Democritus in 460 to 361 BC. He forwarded the idea that the universe was made up of tiny indivisible particles called atoms. In 1808, John Dalton, an English scientist, suggested that an atom is a basic unit of matter. On the other hand, an atom is the smallest particle of an element that exhibits all the properties of that element. It may or may not exist independently but takes part in every chemical reaction. Now we will discuss the main characteristics of atoms as suggested by John Dalton are: number 1, atoms can neither be created nor be destroyed. Number 2, it may or may not have independent existence but they can take part in chemical reactions. Number 3, it is the smallest particle of matter which cannot be divided further into smaller particles. Number 4, an atom of an element exhibits all the properties of that element. And the last, number 5, is atoms of the same element are all identical but they differ from the atoms of other elements. An atom is itself made up of even smaller particles called fundamental particles or subatomic particles. They are electrons, protons and neutrons. Let us discuss these terms, that is electrons, protons and neutrons. What is it? So electrons. Electrons are the negatively charged particles in an atom with 1 unit negative charge and negligible mass. Protons. Protons are the positively charged particles present in an atom with 1 unit positive charge and 1 unit mass. Next is neutrons. Neutrons are the particles with no electrical charge, so they are neutral but have 1 unit mass. You may observe following table shows the symbols, charge and mass of the 3 fundamental properties or particles of an atom given on page number 49 of your chemistry notebook. Now we will discuss a molecule. So students, a smallest particle of a pure substance, that is element or compound, which has independent existence, it exhibits all the properties of pure substance. Molecules are of 2 types. Number 1 is molecules of an element. Number 2 is molecules of a compound. Let us discuss these 2 types. So what is molecules of an element? Students, when 2 or more atoms of the same element combine to form a molecule of that element are called molecules of an element. Example, O2, Cl2, N2, etc. Whereas when 2 or more atoms of the different elements combine to form a molecule of that element are called molecules of a compound. Example H2O, CO2, SO2, etc. Now we will discuss the term atomicity. When a number of atoms of an element that join together to form a molecule of that element is known as the atomicity. The molecules of element can be divided into number 1 monoatomic molecules, diatomic molecules, triatomic molecules and polyatomic molecules. Let us discuss these all types of molecules. First is monoatomic molecules. A molecule which contains one atom is known as monoatomic molecule. Example helium, neon, argon, krypton, etc. Diatomic molecule. A molecule which contains two atoms is known as diatomic molecule. Example H2, Cl2, O2, etc. And triatomic molecules. A molecule which contains three atoms is known as triatomic molecule. Example O3, which is an ozone gas. And the last one is a polyatomic molecule. So a molecule which contains more than three atoms is known as polyatomic molecule. Example P4, that is a phosphorus, and acid, that is a sulfur, etc. Next we will discuss the topic molecular formula of an element. So the molecular formula of an element is the symbolic representation of its molecule. It indicates the number of atoms present in it. Example, a molecule of chlorine is represented by Cl2, which indicates that two atoms of chlorine join to form one molecule of chlorine. It also shows that the atomicity of chlorine is 2. Now, I will give you very short questions. You will get a 3 minutes break to write the answers. So, question number 1. Name the scientist who gave the idea of an atom. Question number 2. What is the symbol of proton? And the last question number 3. Give an example of polyatomic molecules. Now pause your audio for 3 minutes and write the answers in your chemistry notebook. I hope you all have complete with the questions. Let us check the answers now. So answer number 1 is John Dalton. Answer number 2, P positive or 1P1. Answer number 3, acid, and P4. With this, I am ending today's lesson. So instructions are, you all are required to listen the audio again and revise all the topics which we have covered today. Thank you and have a nice day.